Alright kids, don't forget to eat your Lucky Charms. Hey, listen to this, boys and girls. We've got a little issue. As some of you've seen on IXLs, sometimes I'm losing internet. And this time my mouse was way more laggy than normal. And I'm thinking, once I closed Zoom, it was all back to normal. So there just must be so many people using Zoom now, because it's free and you can have up to 100 people on it live. So that might be part of the problem. Alright, so I'm just going to do the IXL problems. This will be way quicker. It was taking way too long. There's only 4 levels. It's going to be T6 for 7th grade, okay? 7th grade T6, and it's solving 2-step inequals, okay? I abbreviate sometimes. Sorry, I'm going to write a little fast and sloppy because I want this, the shorter the video, the quicker it'll upload and everything. And you won't have to sit there as long. Okay, so for example 1, to start off, okay. So we got 2d plus 5 greater than or equal to 9, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is, I always say, whatever's attached to the variable, save that for last. This I can get rid of first. So the opposite of adding 5, or a positive 5, is a negative 5. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do to both sides. So this 5 is gone, and I have 2d left, still greater than or equal to 9 minus 5 is 4. Hey, it's a 4 over here. Hey, no, you were yesterday. You're done. All right, so now this is 2 times d. How do I get rid of times d? I do the opposite. I divide both sides times 2. Oops, sorry. I divide both sides by 2. So there you go. And we have d is greater than or equal to 2. All right? Okay, next one. The next level jumps up to 55, and you'll get something like this. I mean, you're going to get a lot. There's like hundreds of questions in their question banks, but they start throwing in these fractions. And I mentioned earlier, I believe in the intro, a lot of students every year, that's the one thing, they have a lot of troubles with these fractions. That just means c divided by 2. That's all that means. So I'm going to save that for last. First, I'm going to get rid of this. So instead of adding 10, I'm going to subtract 10. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do it to both sides. This crosses off and disappears. I'm left with z divided by 2 is greater than 11 minus 10. That's not a 1, that's just making a little, some people call it inverted T, or like a teeter-totter balancing act, okay? 11 minus 10, there's a 1 left, okay? Now that's z divided by 2. What's the opposite of that? I have to multiply both sides by 2, and since I'm multiplying fractions here, I can change any whole number to a fraction by just putting a 1 under it. 2 divided by 1 is still 2, but this way I can see, oh, top of the fraction, bottom of the fraction, they simplify and disappear and cross out, okay? But whatever you do to one side times 2, I have to do the other side times 2, okay? So z is going to be greater than 2 times 1, which is 2. That's my answer. All right, I'm going to flip it. We're going to do the third level, takes us up into the 80s. Let me pull up the question. Now, the one big trick that a lot of people mess up on when they get to this level, there's 2 things they're going to try to do to you here, okay? F divided by negative 39, oh, that don't look pretty, plus 2. Okay, look, algebra can look intimidating, but it's just baby steps, 1 step at a time. Yeah, they actually call it steps. I didn't even think about that. This is a 2-step equation. You're just doing steps. So you do what's attached to the variable last. And now first thing, some people do it at the beginning. I usually do it at the end, but a lot of people always like to have the letter on the left. And I don't know if IXL lets you answer with the letter on the right. I know the one sample problem I did, I switched it and put the letter over here and they accepted it. I don't know if they're going to accept it if at the end you had 1 is greater than F, you know what I mean? So it's up to you. If you switch it and you want to switch at the beginning, you just flip everything over. So I'll put the 2 at the front, or I could have had the 2 at the back, it doesn't matter. and then f over negative 39. But see, the point is near the f, so the point is near the f, okay? And then the 1's on this side. The mouth's facing the 1, the mouth's facing the 1. Okay, so now I flipped it, and when I move everything, I'll have f on the correct side. So the first thing you're going to do is what's not attached to the letter, the 2, I'm going to get rid of that first. That's a positive 2, so I'm going to do a minus 2 to both sides by f over negative 39 less than 1 minus 2. I'm going to end up at negative 1. Okay. Now, this means f divided by a negative. So I'm just going to do the opposite. I'm going to times, and you have to include the negative because I want to get rid of that. I'm going to multiply it by negative 39 over 1. That way, those cross out, and I'm left with f. Hold on, wait for it. Thank you. Some of you know. All right. Now I'm going to end up over here with negative 1 times a negative 39. Dorito man, I have a negative times a negative, so you cover an I and you cover an I. What's left? The answer is going to be positive 39. So f is less than 39? No. Remember the last thing we did on our notes earlier, I said when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, you have to flip the inequality symbol. So it changed, started off as less than, but then when I divided both sides by a negative, it flipped. So I need to flip this from less than to greater than, okay? F is greater than 39. All right, last problem, and we are done, guys. The last thing you're going to do to try to mess with you, so there they messed with you by having a negative. That was their first thing they tried to do. And then they also put the F on this side instead of this side, okay? Those are just simple little things people miss, okay? This time, to take it to the next level, they're going to do it like this. They're going to add decimals. Hoo-ha! I forgot to do that yesterday when I was doing my, I said cup of cappuccino with Pacino. I was saying it fast. I didn't know if you knew what I said or meant. That's Al Pacino, another famous actor who's done Italian characters. And so cup of cappuccino with Pacino, when I said that, I was then going to go, ooh, ah, and do his little, ooh, ah, his little trademark thing he makes. All right, well, so here again, I have the letter on the wrong side. So I could switch it right off the bat and put 6.32 minus S, and the point is towards the S side. So it's going to flip, and then I'm going to have the 4.56, okay? All right, next, I want to get rid of this 6.32, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Now, the issue here is that crosses out. I'm left with a negative S, and I'm going to have more negatives than positives, so my answer is going to end up being negative. The different sign rule, you just go the bigger digits, the 6 is bigger than the 4, subtract the smaller digits. So I'm going to borrow 12 minus 6 is 6, 12 minus 5 is 7, 5 minus 1, and decimals, adding and subtracting, you line them up and drop it down. So it's going to be 1.76. But the bigger digit wins, so its symbol wins. It's going to be negative. So now I have negative S is less than negative 1.76, okay? So, how do I get rid of that negative? Okay, you know if you get rid of it on one side, you can get rid of it on the other, but you got to think of it like this. The way you get rid of a negative, you can think of that as negative 1 times S is less than negative 1.76. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. A negative divided by a negative is going to get rid of that and change it to a positive. So I'm going to have S is less than, whoops, but I just divided by a negative, sir, so we got to flip it. And then a negative divided by a negative, the negatives is going to cross out. So I'm going to have 1.76. So I'm going to, S is greater than, see if they add any extra notes I need to remind you before I sign off, 1.76. Boom. Okay, said keep it up. That was a challenge level right there, guys. So again, it's putting the variable on the wrong side, flipping it, and having a negative to divide by, flipping the inequality symbol. There you go. Good luck. You can do this. You got this. And I wish you all a wonderful day.